All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're breaking down Asian augmentation rhinoplasty. Now, this is one of the most common cosmetic procedures out there, especially in East Asia, but it's full of nuance and some really important details. So, we're going to get straight into what it is, why people choose it, and what the whole process actually looks like.
Here's the game plan. We'll start by defining the procedure, plain and simple. Then we'll get into the anatomy and what motivates someone to consider it. After that, we'll look at the core options you have, face the risks head on, and finally, we'll talk about recovery and what kind of results to expect.
Okay, so let's start at the very beginning. What is this procedure actually trying to achieve? And just as importantly, what is it not trying to do? Well, the key word here is augmentation. That means this is all about building up, about adding structure. The main goals are pretty straightforward: to raise the height of the nasal bridge and to give the tip of the nose more projection and a clearer, more defined shape. It's all about enhancing the profile. And this is probably the most critical point we're going to cover. Let's be really clear. The philosophy here is not about creating a so-called Western nose. Not at all. It's about enhancing the existing facial structure in a way that feels balanced and harmonious, while totally respecting and preserving the patient's ethnic features. So to really get what that idea of harmony means, we've got to look at the why behind the surgery. This means digging into the specific anatomical traits surgeons are looking at, and of course, the aesthetic goals patients are hoping to achieve. So anatomically, what are we usually talking about? Well, it's often a combination of things like a lower nasal bridge, skin that's a bit thicker, which can kind of hide the definition underneath, and cartilage at the tip that's a bit weaker. All these things together can create a softer, less projected look, and understanding this is absolutely key to getting a great result. So when you look at those anatomical points, the patient's goals make perfect sense, right? People are usually looking for a bridge with more definition, a tip that's a little sharper and projects more, and just a straighter profile overall. It really all comes down to creating a new sense of balance and proportion for the face. Okay, we've covered the what and the why. Now let's get into the how. Now, sure, there are non-surgical things like fillers, but those are temporary. We're going to focus on the main surgical paths that give you those real long-term results. Right, so this really boils down to one huge question for any patient. How exactly is the surgeon going to build that height and definition? And this brings us to a fundamental choice. Are you going to use a synthetic implant, or are you going to use the patient's own tissue? Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because it's all about trade-offs. On one side of the coin, you have implants like silicone or Gore-Tex. They give you super reliable, predictable height, and the surgery itself is usually shorter. But they do come with risks, like they could shift, get infected, or even become visible under the skin. Then on the other side, you can use the body's own cartilage. This stuff integrates naturally with a super low risk of rejection, but it means you need a second surgical site, and there's a small chance it could warp a little over time. And this is where a lot of modern surgery is headed, this kind of best of both worlds hybrid approach. What this means is using a stable, reliable implant for the bridge to get that height, but then using the patient's own natural, flexible cartilage to shape the tip. This often gives the most natural-looking and natural-feeling result. Okay, we can't talk about surgery without talking about the risks. Any procedure has them. And it's absolutely essential to go into this with your eyes wide open. Being fully informed is, let's face it, a non-negotiable. And the crucial thing to get here is that the risks are different depending on which path you take. With implants, the worries are more, well, mechanical. Things like the implant shifting out of place, infection around a foreign object, or it's showing through thin skin. With cartilage, the risks are more biological. You've got discomfort from where the cartilage was taken, the possibility it might warp as it heals, or some slight asymmetries. So the surgery's done. Now what? The journey is far from over once you leave the operating room. In fact, this next part, the recovery, is just as critical for getting that amazing final result. Right after the procedure, the name of the game is protection and managing swelling. You'll have a splint to hold everything steady, you have to avoid any strenuous activity to keep your blood pressure down, and sleeping with your head propped up helps with the puffiness. And of course, probably the most obvious one, do not bump your nose or put heavy glasses on it. And wow, this slide really drives home the point that rhinoplasty is a marathon, not a sprint. Sure, the worst of the bruising and swelling is gone within the first month, but the nose keeps subtly changing and refining for months after that. That final super crisp definition at the tip, you might not see that for a full year or sometimes even longer as that last little bit of swelling finally disappears. Patience is key.
And finally, you have to be your own best advocate during recovery. There are some red flags you absolutely need to look out for. Things like a fever, any sudden changes in the shape of your nose, or pain that gets worse instead of better, those aren't normal. They're clear signals to call your surgeon right away. Knowing these signs makes sure any little issue gets handled fast. So this brings us full circle. The whole procedure is just this fascinating mix of technical, surgical skill, and pure artistic vision. And it all comes down to this one question, really. How do you create a significant aesthetic enhancement, a real change, while at the same time preserving the essential character and identity of a person's face? Finding that perfect balance, well, that's the real art of it all.